Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a open forum for people want to say something to the city council. Have anything to say? You've got some time. Well, looks like that ain't gonna work. Okay, we need an approval of the agenda.
I'll make it. Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All against? Okay, so consent agenda. We had some minutes from April 12, 2016 to approve the minutes of the April 12, 2016 City Council meeting as presented. Hometown Pride Festival, resolution number 2016-26. To approve resolution number 2016-26, a resolution granting certain approvals for Hometown Pride Days on Thursday, July 28th, Friday, July 29th, Saturday, July the 30th, 2016, namely applications for event license and street closures.
Hey, Fran, I apologize, there's one more thing, and
Sure,
I forgot to give you guys.
we're going to add one more thing to the consent agenda,
Yeah, sorry.
I guess.
Oh, that one. Okay.
It's right there, the underline.
Okay, and then we got a request for approval from Kurt and Kathy Robbins for the Let the Sunshine Run, to approve the annual Let the Sunshine Run for Saturday, April the 22nd, 2017. And that's for next year already. All right, we're looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Jamie,
I'll second it.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Looks like we got ourselves consent agenda. Number 5, Firefest trailer, Matt Hesse. Oh, come on up, Matt.
We're looking to purchase a semi-trailer for Firefest, and we're asking for approval to not exceed $3,000. What we're going to use it for is for storage for some of our stuff, the equipment, the supplies, everything we need to put on the event. Then at the same time, we can use it as a advertising tool, put a banner on the side of it, place it in places, and then the purchase of it will be covered by Firefest funds.
Is it going to be a licensed trailer? Or
No, it's going to be storage only. So it non-DOT-able, so it's not going to be anything special. But
it's not going to be emerald for Firefest?
it'll just be a banner on the side
Okay,
that we can take off and put back on.
so...
We're not going to put anything permanent on it.
So just up there to down here then? is it?
Yep, basically.
Okay,
Have you found one already?
We're looking. Chad Kramer's been looking with some distributors or salesmen that he works with for his business, and we've got a few that they have sent to us. We just have to go down and find them and look at them.
what do you think, council? Should we let them get a trailer?
I think we
I
should.
think we should.
Good, so let's look for a motion.
I'll make a,
Oh,
you can have it.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Jan? You know, I should have read that first, right?
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Firefest trailer, Matt Hesse, to approve the purchase of a trailer for Firefest use at a cost not to exceed $3,000 to be paid from the Firefest proceeds. Okay. Anybody against it? No. For?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay. We're, event approval for the Granite Community Bank and off-premises permit for the sidebar.
Come on down.
He looks familiar.
That's a good thing, I hope. I was gonna pass one of these out to you if you don't mind. So you have kind of a visual on it.
Can it go on the bulletin board after the meeting?
We're still working on the sponsors, so
Not
I
yet.
wish I could say yes to that. Thank you for your time here tonight. Granite Community Bank is looking for approval of this event again this year. It'll be our second block party. Last year, you guys did approve it. We're looking at the same format. It's on the campus of the Cold Spring Bank here. We're going to have a bunch of vendors, and each one are going to do their own items they sell. The off-sale liquor license, insurance, everything's being handled by the Sidebar and Grill on an individual basis, but they will be invited and have accepted that part of it. We're excited about this because we're taking our 10 VIP pairs of tickets and auctioning them off for our Granite Community Charitable Fund, which is a legacy foundation through the Rocori Community Fund. It's to build the community when the fund gets larger. And we actually invite a whole bunch of vendors such as Wild Country, Teals, Sidebar and Grill, Curds and Cakes to do some vending. Some other of the local block people are invited. And we just have a fun time, and it's a live auction to fund a charity. So we are looking for that approval again. It'll be on June 23rd this year from 4:30 to 7. And we're inviting, it's an open forum, we're inviting the public to come and obviously bid on the tickets. And there'll be giveaways and other surprises that evening. The fire department, we are hoping, can come again this year along with the police department and kind of show the city off in a very good, positive light. Any questions at all?
I don't have any.
No, I don't either.
I think you'll do good.
Yeah, we should. Last year was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun.
Did you have 10 sets last year too?
We did, yes. The year before was 5. So this is actually the third year we've had the auction going on.
Okay.
Any more questions for Mr. Jim? Nothing. Okay.
All right.
You gonna read your recommendation?
To approve an outdoor event in the Granite Community Bank's parking lot for a Firefest VIP ticket auction and block party on Thursday, June the 23rd, 2016, from 4:30 to 7 p.m. Furthermore, to approve an off-premises permit to sell intoxicating liquor for the Sidebar and the Grill for June 23rd, 2016 at the Granite Community Bank to be held in the parking lot, contingent on them providing liquor liability insurance for themselves covering this event at this location. Looking for a motion.
Make a motion.
Dave? Second. Jamie? Seconded?
Second.
Okay. All right. So go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have to go?
Should we vote up?
Oh, yeah. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
You knew what we were gonna say.
Yeah, well, the way you looked at me and I go like, there's something I forgot. All right, next time, appointment to the Planning Commission. To approve and recommendation of the Planning Commission and appoint Ryan Hennon to the Planning Commission for the term expiring December the 31st, 2017. So is Ryan Hennon around?
Yep.
Oh, hi, Ryan Hennon. All right, so you're the brave person, or is that what you are?
That is it. Yes, I hope.
You want to ask us any questions before you sign your sentence?
Come up and give a little bio or?
Yeah, you want to give us a little bit about you, so.
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you. No, I just appreciate the opportunity. I've grown up in Cold Spring. I know the area well. We moved back a few years ago, and I just wanted to find a way that I could start giving back to the community, and this seemed like a really logical step considering my background with land surveying and
being part of a civil engineering firm. Just seemed like the right fit, kind of the right time too. My we're growing, but it's, the kids it's a time now where they're old enough where I can be away a little bit and it's not going to affect us too much. So I think it'll be a good thing for me and hopefully for everybody.
Okay, planning commission went through everything
Yeah.
already? Okay?
Yeah, we had 2 applicants, and we went through them, and we picked him. Both of them are very, very good.
Okay.
It's not an easy decision, but
Any questions you want to ask us?
At the end of the term, what happens?
We open it up to the public again at the end of everybody's term. So we put something in the record and just, if anybody wants to apply,
You
so,
just reapply and then, okay.
yeah. Yep.
Okay, we're looking for a motion for him.
I'll make a motion.
Dave, second, we're looking for a second.
Second.
Jan, all in favor?
Aye.
All against? Okay, we got ourselves a new person. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you again. Public Works. John? Oh, and we're gonna.
How are we doing this evening? Excellent.
Well, it
For a
depends.
quarter, I'll
Go
tell
on to
you.
your list.
Yeah. Not too long, but it's important. So letter A is the rehiring of our part-time seasonal employees. The same 3 we had last year want to come back again this year. We'd like to hire them. And Kristen, do you want to read the recommendation?
Yeah. Recommendation is to approve the rehiring of Josh Roden, Mason Rigamer, and Kelvin Kaltoff as part-time seasonal parks employees. Furthermore, that they will all begin at a pay rate of $9 per hour with an increase to $9.50 occurring on August 1, 2016 in accordance with Minnesota state minimum wage laws.
Okay, motion?
I'll make that motion.
Jan?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Looks like we have some.
Thank you. The next thing is the license and purchase option agreement with KV Company. So you guys seen in your packet a new option for a well field. It's closer to the water main. It could easily be a $300,000 savings to the city, just the savings in power and water main alone. And we'd like to drill 4 test wells and see what the water quality is like.
That thing with the Fraley's is falling apart, that you're,
No, it's not necessarily falling apart. There's a lot of complications with the Fraley site, with their irrigator and the power and the roadway going to it. And this option was just kind of brought up. I think it was brought up in the past as well, but we can't bring back the past. And we'd like to research this option because it could be such a huge savings to the city. $300,000 is a lot of money. And it just seems like it could be a better fit, all in all, with the location of the land and the way it's set up.
should almost be in the same aquifer, huh?
I would think so, yeah. I mean, they're within a quarter mile of each other, so
Yeah.
should be in the same aquifer. There's less obstacles and hoops to have to go around.
So they're planning on, the pit has done its job then, about leveling it off if their wells are gonna go in there? Or is there room with the pit and the wells?
There'd be room. They would mine up to the northern natural gas line, and there's an oil line that runs and it kind of crisscrosses on the northerly half of that parcel.
Yeah.
So they would mine up to that, and then the city would own the back portion, the northern portion of that parcel, and we'd have our well field back there and our treatment plant on the west side of the property off of Greystone.
So then there is adequate amount of room then, so.
Yep.
Is this price per acre different than our previous contracts?
Yeah, this price would be higher. I think our last one was 6,700-ish roughly
Yeah.
per acre is what it came to. And of course, that one was rising. It just kept continuing to rise with the obstacles and the
When
different
when
stipulations.
we went back to get some additional land to make that well field the size we wanted, then the price kind of kept going up.
So yeah, this price is, substantially higher, arguably double. But with that, taking that into consideration, that's in the consideration for the savings we would still save, so.
And was that a price that we came up with or they came up with?
They came up with that price because that is what, with the gravel they could get off of that piece of land is the value of the gravel to them. So,
Council, what are you thinking? Discussion? Should we keep looking for water?
Where is this at?
Otherwise,
it's directly west of the Fraley site. It's, if you're driving down Greystone off County Road 2, right before the sharp corner, you drive straight off of that, you'd run into it.
Okay.
And our water main runs right around that corner, so it's directly across the road. That's where the savings comes into play.
A lot shorter for water and power.
do you think this 30,000 would help to purchase that land at Fraley then, instead of re-drilling, since the water was okay there? Since we're going to spend some more money, should we spend it back on that property?
Well, I think we
On the
have.
Fraley property, or are we going to keep expediting?
I think the 30,000 really wouldn't change our thoughts on the Fraley site at all. I mean, we have our water quality, we have the things kind of figured out on that property. This is just a option we've been looking at now that would be closer to our main and save the city a lot of money in the long run. I mean, it's a little upfront cost that, in the end, we could end up eating and find out the water's not good or something. We have to go back to the Fraley site, but it could also be a huge savings for us in the future. So it's kind of a,
How much is it gonna cost again to drill them? 30,000.
yep,
Okay.
not to exceed 30,000. I got 2 bids from Thinewell and Troutwell. Two bids, so.
This thing's never gonna go away, is it?
Yeah, I thought that Fraley thing was a shoe-in, and we
Yeah.
were just going to run with that. And now I'm a little upset with this here a little bit, but
I mean, I do like the idea of the cost savings. It's just too bad that
Yeah.
this is coming after we're this far into the other one.
yeah.
Yeah, we did all that stuff
Yeah.
with the other one, and now,
And it's kept dragging out and dragging
Yeah.
out that.
Yeah, the other thing could happen is if we would have to go back to the Fraleys, they probably would tell us to take a hike. It could jeopardize that too, I don't know.
good.
So,
And we did contact them and let them know that we're exercising this thought.
do we need to think about
I was
this?
gonna say, can we think on this? Do we have to do you need a recommendation tonight or approval tonight?
The way it looks, yeah.
I don't think it's 100% necessary, but it would be nice.
When did those drillers think they could get in?
Fine said they could get at it yesterday already,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and Trout never really said. Besides, they're probably out a couple weeks, I would assume.
I think the idea that we were thinking about was that we have to kind of keep moving forward on the Fraley property, assuming that might be the direction we go, and that's where we had pulled this together.
Is somebody calling somebody's bluff?
No, I don't think so. I think we really, if the Fraley's is our option, I think it's a good site. It's just the potential to save the 300,000 made
But
us.
it looks like
closer to
this site, this KB site could always be open no matter what, even if that went bad. No?
It's possible that it would all
We're
come
spending, we're spending money, so everybody kind of think about that.
But we're spending 30,000 to save 315,
Yeah.
possibly.
Possible, yeah.
But yeah, like Fran said, then all of a sudden, do we have our contract in place on the Fraley property, or is that gonna, like I said, if we pursue this, is that gonna send that one
Yeah,
tumbling?
No, I don't think it will. I think that contract has changed so much since the beginning that.
Well, legally, we're doing this all with Sue's blessing, and so we're not worried about any of the legal side of it. She's and we're working with them, and we're she's a lot of the communication is through their attorney with Sue, but the message we're sending them is that we're just trying to do due diligence to make sure we get the best site for the taxpayers and, spend our money the best we can. And so we're keeping good relationships with the Fraley. At least we hope we are, because we've been very upfront with them about it and just said we have another option and we just feel we need to do this. But, please keep us, in the loop. We're still working with them. As Brian said, we're still moving forward with that one too, kind of simultaneously to see which one works out.
But we have 8 holes laying south of town new that we spent money on. And that didn't go anywhere.
Right.
And then when the Fraley property came and we found water and everything, all of a sudden, it was a God's blessing, but then, no. I am for just leaving it go for now, but it's because I'm going to read the recommendation and I'm going to ask for a motion of some kind, okay? No?
If there's no urgency to move on this tonight, can it wait 2 weeks?
I think it can wait 2 weeks, yeah.
And that's only because it's,
It's a big deal.
well, it is. It's a huge cost savings, and I guess I'd like to hear, I guess I'd like to think about it for a minute here before we go jumping on this land, before somebody else says, hey, I got a parcel that's even closer that I'll give you for $100,000 even less, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So if we could table this till next meeting.
I would like to have more time
I would
to
too.
digest this. Again, we're spending city's money and we're trying to do it the prudent way. And like I said, for tonight, I'm not for it, but if we want to call for a motion, and I can do that. But if we want to table it, I'm perfectly satisfied with
Do we know
that.
how much we've invested in the Fraley property already?
In the actual Fraley site would be, the total scope of the project we've invested is like $300,000, but that includes everything since day one of finding water. I don't know what exactly the Fraley site would be. It'd be the test wells, which would be roughly similar to this.
That would be interesting if we could have those numbers pulled together.
Yeah, we
can
could
do that.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah, or how much, I would like to see how much money we spent on the other wells
Yeah.
too.
So let's just table this until our next meeting. I don't think we need to make a,
We'll just ask to table it.
yeah.
All right.
Just table it for now, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
That's what we're gonna do.
The other thing I had was just an update on that noise barrier fence you guys wanted. I contacted MnDOT, and the construction material would be, it'd be 20 feet high. The wall would be 20 feet high. It'd be made out of concrete or wood plank. The grant is for pretty much if we would send our application in, it would cover the whole grant for what they have to offer. That's not saying that we wouldn't get it. She said she'd still like us to submit the application. Other than that, there really isn't a whole lot else about it. It's like I said, 90-10 match. So it would be roughly $80,000 to the city, and the rest would be a grant.
Can they do they have a way to test? So if they go up and stand at the edge of those properties now, do they have a way to test what difference this would make? Because like you said, when it's going uphill, the sound is probably just going to get pushed up further and move over.
Right, and I actually used a decibel reader from Stantec and did that. And it is, just from being down by 23, going up on the hill by, Ron and Jamie's house, there's already a drop in decibels, with the tree line. And that's without the leaves on. So I'm assuming when the leaves are on, it's even better. But I don't know, I would think they'd have to use a comparable town that has, or city that has a fence like that to be able to
You would
do
think
that.
they would have a computer program where they could do the elevations and be able to tell if it's going to make an impact.
Yeah, they
Or if
definitely
it's going to
might.
ricochet this noise up over and it's going to end up another half block back. And
Is there any city on 23 that has one of these?
Not on 23 that I can
No,
think of.
23.
Maybe Wilmer might.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that she brought up too, is there's not a whole lot of cities that are even eligible for this grant. So she said we're one of not that many that even got the application, but
How many signed that petition that was last year, the year before, for a sound barrier? Was there? How many was there, do you remember?
Did you bring that in?
I feel like there was,
The 20?
oh,
Was it 20?
I didn't think it was even that much.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. Was there even
I was thinking
20?
10 to 15 or,
20 out of how many lives would we,
I think there's roughly 33 houses that face 20, that are close to
33.
23 in that portion of town.
They're on that first block.
Yeah.
and then the other concern was the fence being too close to the trail because of the,
We'd have to build
And I
it
don't
on the
think it'd be-
hill, north, south of the
between the
trail.
hill and the trail, but then that wasn't state property?
No,
That wasn't right
It would
away.
almost have to be.
They
Yeah,
would-
it'd have to be in the right of way.
it has to be
in
the
the
right of way,
right-
so it would be
In that
between the trail
water,
and the
in
highway.
that,
Yeah.
but then,
Yep.
Jan, I would think to answer your question, I think there's probably software out there that they would use to model it, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, so if we had a topographic map that showed the slope, and if you put a hill, it here by the highway, because you've got the big slope, it would be on the lowest point. So that noise is probably still gonna,
It might be close enough to 23 to catch it,
yeah, that's
Tough
what I
to say.
don't know.
so the noise is tire noise, right?
A lot of it
Isn't-
is, yeah. Jake braking
Chief
and semis.
Boucher said that when he had talked about it, he says most of it was tire noise.
Yep.
But I see some of it, they still use those Jake's brakes yet or whatever, but,
When I was out there with the decibel gun, anytime a semi would drive by, the noise coming off those tires was when it raised the gun up.
the tire noise.
Jake breaking's loud, but it happens rare. Well, I shouldn't say rare, but it's often enough where you notice it, but it's
Yeah.
not like,
I grew up where the train just came past my house all the time. And after a couple of years, we didn't even know there was a train there and it came through, you know. But, I'm going to ask the council for advice or suggestions. Should we leave it go for a while? Think about it?
I think to spend 85 grand on a 20-foot high wall next to a trail we just invested more money into is foolish,
Okay.
personally. I mean,
I mean, unless I have verification that it's really
yeah,
going
it's
to do.
gonna work.
That's
Yeah.
what I would want
I
to,
can't-
that's what
it
I
just
would want to
seems-
know, and if we can't get that.
I don't want to invest this
I
money
don't-
and have a wall and then not have made an impact.
We could spend 100 grand planting trees down there to
Yeah.
help too. Because
And-
in the summer when the leaves are on there, you
It'll eliminate
you hear
some.
you hear people talking on the trail more than you hear the cars. Personally, you know when I'm sitting on my deck, but
So the trees should be, the vegetation should be planted where, Jamie? Up on the edge, on the
well,
ledge?
just anywhere.
Anywhere?
Anywhere
Just,
anywhere you can put more trees on the hill is going to absorb the noise, definitely.
Uh-huh.
Because in the summer, you don't, like I said, you can hear the people talking on the trail right now, clear as day. But when the leaves come on the trees and the bushes start to fill out down there, you can't. I mean, you can hear the kids ringing their bells on their bikes, but it's
Yeah.
it's relatively quiet. It's my
Well-
personal opinion.
And with
Dave?
that noise barrier, with that grant, does it have to be a wall or could it be vegetative?
I think it's a wall.
Okay.
There might be other grants out there for vegetative noise barrier stuff, but I'd have to look into that.
Okay.
How easy would that be to put trees along there?
Especially if you did an evergreen, because then they wouldn't drop.
Next to the trail, on the south side, like on the south side of the trail or something. Or even on the north side of the trail, somewhere in there.
I suppose it would all depend on where the city property starts, outside the right of way of the trail and the 23.
You probably want to stay off of 23 right away.
Yeah.
Down in Elberville, wasn't there sections, their test sections for noise levels off of that? Didn't they try all kinds of different materials to absorb sound too?
Yeah, they might, and I think, yeah,
Yeah.
those would be related to the road surface itself.
Yeah. Well, I'm not for it right now, but if you feel like we should, you know.
I'm not convinced that it's gonna make the impact that we're looking for, to spend that investment.
Yeah.
Does MinDOT have an expert they can send up here or we can call and talk to about this?
Yep. Couple of,
Yeah, maybe we should just do that, see what they're. I mean, if it's, hey, we get 900 grand, city pays 100, we'll put a wall up. If that's what they're asking us to do, I mean, we'd hope there's some kind of conversation happens at, well, is it actually going to do any good?
I can call them tomorrow too and see if they have anything where the height of that hill.
See what they say.
Yeah, because even if they
Yeah.
want somebody, we can come down there too, if it's either easier and.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then will it attract graffiti?
Most of them do.
More than likely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much all of them do.
Well, again, if it worked, it'd be all right. If it don't work, we wasted some money. I don't know. I'm not willing to put it to sleep, but I'm not willing to,
No, and like I said,
you
You
know,
know,
it's,
if the other option would be to plant trees at some point, you know, maybe that would be a better option, I don't know. We probably need to look into it a little bit more then.
look into the vegetation for a noise
Either one.
barrier instead of materials.
Find out if this wall would actually work,
Yeah,
you know, or if trees would probably be better.
then maybe Brian and John got to do a bit more research. Should we go with that?
I think
Do
we
a
should go
bit
with
more
that for now.
research?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Can do that.
Anything else, John?
That's all I had.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Brian, city engineer?
Update on County Road 2. We opened bids on April 14th. Apparent low bidder is Knife River Corporation. So, and I gave you a handout of where their bid came in. It's kind of divided up a little goofy. The grand total column on the far right is the total project. And then if you go to the two columns left of that, the non-participating Cold Spring and the non-participating City of Cold Spring plan, those are our costs. So the non-participating Cold Spring are the items that were in the county's plan that the city has to pay for because they're behind the curb. And then the column next to that Cold Spring plan is what our plan was, the sewer and water, streetscaping, lighting, etc. So those two total down there. So we came in, I think ours was about 70,000 over the engineer's estimate. The county's portion was a little, they were about 170,000 over. So we were about 240 over total what the estimate was. I still don't think the bids came in real bad. If you look at our portion, it was about 4,000 over what we, or 4% over what we had thought. And I did kind of put my thoughts to some of it. If we look at the streetscaping items, we're about 25% over on those. Just I think probably because of the difficult nature of installing some of those, the decorative nature. So that's about where we stand on those. 15. So yeah. And then on the electrical items, we actually came about 10% under. So, and then on a lot of our utility items, we were quite a bit lower. I think maybe the ones we expected to come in high, like the lining and the directional drilling, one came in higher, one came in lower. A lot of the rest of the utility stuff was in general lower. Sidewalk was one of the things that came a little higher than we thought. There's just so much sidewalk, a little change in that unit price affects it greatly.
Wasn't the, I'll let you finish now.
No, go ahead.
Wasn't the granite company going to donate something for this?
Yeah, they were looking at providing materials at cost to
Gotcha.
the supplier, and then they were also donating some of the granite banding.
Banding, that's what it was.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we had gotten, if we wanted to put in additional banding, we had gotten a price from Mike Guggenberger, who had installed the other, who will be installing for the granite company. Got a price from him. The granite company would donate the materials if we wanted to go over and above what they were doing, and then we would pay to install that.
Okay.
So that is not included in here right now. We did get kind of lucky, I think, based on the apparent subs. I think he got the work for the project, which is good because of
Consistency. yeah.
consistency and quality, so.
What is mobilization?
Mobilization is just they get 50% of it at their first payment application or right away. It's basically something to give them cash flow to get started. They have to mobilize in a lot. It comes from mobilizing in equipment. All the stuff that it takes to get a project started, and then it's usually sometimes a month or two before they really start getting paid for some of that. So on bigger projects, we do a mobilization so that they get some cash flow up front. If you don't have a lot of times we don't put a mobilization item in there. On a smaller project, those kind of costs just get built into the other items and everything else gets inflated a little.
We also have to realize that this bidding was also done by the county, not by the city. So we didn't have a lot to do with the bidding because the county was in charge of that,
The
correct?
county was in charge of the bidding itself. What the city did is we supplied them with our plans and our specs for the sewer, the water, those things.
Okay.
And then they incorporated it into theirs. Because we wanted to have one project, otherwise to let two separate projects with potentially two separate contractors becomes a nightmare in a hurry.
How many total bidders did we end up with?
I think it was, I saw the list and it was at least, I think 6 or 8.
Okay,
So we had a good
well,
turnout.
good response.
Yeah, and a project this size will usually bring that kind of turnout. And it takes a certain level of contractor to be the prime on something like this.
Yeah, it's not a small project.
So you said our part of this was overall 70 grand over than what we thought it was gonna be? Is there something we can deduct to wipe that out, or is this, it is what it is, or?
At this point, it is what it is.
Okay,
But that doesn't mean that we can't go in and say, maybe we want to do, I'm picking on one of the streetscaping items. Maybe we want to do 1 column instead of 2, something like that. Those are all things we can do yet. But first, we need to approve the contract as it is. We have the right to add or subtract things from it
when we get to that point,
when we
okay.
get to that point.
Okay.
But at this point, we aren't going to change anything.
Gotcha, okay.
So that's kind of why I wanted to, let you know where, and I can, if you're interested, you can look through as well on some of the items, and I could even send you, I'd gone through and kind of showed what the difference was from what the estimate to the bid, as well as a percent change, and then, I've highlighted out separately some of, for example, just the street lighting and the streetscaping, just, because those were big things in the project, just to get a feel for it. So if you're interested, I could get you that information as
Yeah.
well.
That would be nice to see.
Council,
I think we,
can I read the recommendation?
yes, please.
All right. Recommendation is to adopt the resolution number 2016-28, a resolution accepting the bids and awarding the contract for the CSAH second reconstruction project. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Jamie?
I'll second it.
Dave? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Looks like we're going to get some start going. Brian?
All right. And we're anticipating starting the week of the 16th of May. So,
May.
they've been waiting, the county approved this last week, and their approval was contingent upon your approval. So now they can start executing contracts.
Okay,
So that'll take a couple weeks.
let's build a road. As the mayor would say, let's build a road. All right, next.
All right, next, as part of a project like this, the city usually goes out for to a material testing firm and gets a quote on what it would take to test for the project. So the things we test are concrete, we do gradations on the gravel, we do compaction tests on the gravel, moisture tests. It's basically to make sure that we're getting quality materials and that they're being placed in the proper manner. So we do this on pretty much all of our projects. It's a way to just ensure that we're getting what we need. So
So
we had.
they do pour them concrete cylinders and test them then
Yep,
too?
pour the
They do,
cylinders and
okay.
test them. Yep, and then we'll, a lot of times for example, on trenches, when we dig for sewer and water services, they'll go through and they test those. They have a, it's a little yellow box because we call it the nuke gauge. It uses nuclear technology to, it puts something out, gets it back, it can tell you how dense it is.
Oh.
So they've used those for years, so we use those all the time to test.
Do
the
they check
roadway.
compaction too then?
Yep, that's how you check.
That's how they
compaction.
check compaction?
Yep, and then the county will, because the road is theirs, they'll check the compaction on the roadway itself. We're checking compaction on our sewer and water trenches.
Our people from the city do not have this capability? All right.
No, so we usually, and there's a couple firms in the area that we always go to. So we pulled some quotes from a couple of them. And the low quote we got was from Independent Testing Technologies, ITT. They've done a lot of work for us in the past and done very good work, so they have no problem recommending their quote. It's also it's on a unit basis, so based on the tests that they do, if they do less tests, you just pay for what you use.
So I think it's something that has to be done. So,
Yep.
Council?
I'll make a motion.
Well, I'm going to read it first, Jamie.
Okay, read it first.
I messed up before, so I wanted to catch this. To accept the low bid of $7,407.50 from an Independent Testing Technologies for materials testing on the County Road 2 reconstruction project. Now,
Make a
looking for a motion. Jamie?
I'll second it.
Dave? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Bryan?
A couple things.
Sure.
You notice they're still doing utility relocations. They're finishing those up, especially by the roundabout. They did a couple further down the street.
Isn't that one post in the wrong place? The electric post?
I don't know which one.
Oh, were they all in the wrong place?
Well, they
No,
they they ended up moving a lot of those around the roundabout to make room for the roundabout.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want them cutting a wire directly over it, so we made them go around. So those should be in place. They're probably, and I don't know if they're both, the new and the old are still up there, but guessing if not, the old will come out soon to get ready for construction. Otherwise, gas has been up there. I've had a couple meetings with cable. A lot of times the cable will follow the electric, so like on our downtown wire relocations, they'll come behind and do their work. We've also been meeting with Excel. They're working on their final estimate to us right now. I've checked on that. Their designer is on vacation this week, so otherwise I'd hopefully have had a response to you. So we're hoping in the next couple weeks to get a number from them so we can approve, if it's a reasonable number, we can approve that and let them get started on their work. The city has met with some private electricians because there is a number of things that, because we're changing what Excel is doing, they're requiring us to change some things, or requiring the property owners to. And through the processes, we've talked about that, you know, if those changes are required because of what we want Excel to do, that the city is covering that as part of their project. It's not the, so if for example, a business has to, they own the service line from their building to the transformer. So if we're changing where the transformer goes, it would be up to the business to put in a new service line. Well, that's something that the city is doing because we're the ones that are requesting the overall change. So that's all work that we would have to have a private electrician do. So we had a local electrician go through, kind of come up with what he saw as the things that needed to be done. Got a quote from him, got a quote from another, and once we have the Excel numbers, we'll bring those to you. Also working on obtaining easements. So a lot of where the power lines are right now are prescriptive rights, which means that they've been there essentially forever in the eyes of Excel. So they have the right to maintain them, but they don't have the right to upgrade the lines or put new lines. And because we don't have any alleys, we need easements to do some of the work that we're doing. So we've had several iterations going back and forth with Excel. We've walked around, looked at everything multiple times to try and find the best way to serve the properties and get rid of some of the wires on Red River. So the other week, we came up with we said this is our final plan, and so we're looking at obtaining those easements. And we had talked with a lot of those property owners. We had a meeting a couple months back, and everyone was on board with easements. So now we're gonna actually work on writing up the official easements and bringing them to them for signatures. And then those property owners are compensated based on the value of their land for that easement, because we are taking that, it's their property yet, but we're essentially making it so that they can't use it with that easement. So they do get compensated for that.
Brian, you as the city's engineer, do you get to have any input too with the wires or not? Or you have got nothing to say?
No, we've had a lot of input.
Did you?
With Public Works and myself, and we've had Dan Crone helping out, looking at the survey end of it and the easement end of it. We've had a lot of input with Excel. They have, at times it's been frustrating, but a lot of it is just certain restrictions that they have to work under, certain restrictions for their design. You know, I've learned a lot about electrical design in the last 6 months, but we've been working very closely with Excel, and because
So Excel is actually listening to our issues that we have.
Yes, they're listening to our issues. There's certain things that they just can't do or would be cost prohibitive, so it's been a give and take on both sides, but I would say Excel has been very good to work with.
Okay.
Any other questions on County Road 2 before I move on?
No, detouring, that's gonna get figured out?
Pardon?
I'm being asked, detouring, is that
Detouring
getting figured out, or?
detouring will be through the official detour for those not from town, you know, to get around town will be up to Rockville. I think it's 139 to 2 to 160, back over to 50.
Internal city detouring, that's gonna
Internal
work out?
sitting, we have some ideas. A lot of it is just gonna be working with the contractor, and depending on their schedule, where they happen to have tore up. And we've written into the contract, the county and the city wrote in some restrictions on, they gotta have some cross streets open, or, but a lot's just gonna depend on construction, and it'll change at times. When we need to work on wherever that crossing east-west is, we'll have to move it somewhere else.
Okay, because the biggest question that I'm being asked is how are we gonna get at the post office, or is there gonna be another post office someplace else, you know?
There won't be. I know, Chris, had you gotten an update regarding that parking lot?
Well, Bob was working with Jerry Ryder on an easement to cross through their property, and I'd offered to take care of that, and he said he wanted to talk to Jerry, but as you all know, he's gone right now, so as soon as he gets back, I'm gonna follow up with him again and see where things are at with that.
Is there an alley off Main Street next to Grumpy's? that you
It is
can get?
not an alley, that's private property.
Okay.
And it's so narrow too.
There,
Send a pop truck through there, they can't get the doors open. Just kidding.
in the original town site of Cold Spring, so the original city, that plat, there are no alleys, so
Yeah.
Okay.
we'll blame the surveyor in the 1800s.
Yeah. And we don't know
Fran.
why it ever got no. Yeah, I was there when they.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Did take care
I
of that.
told them the road has gotta go through there. And they go like, the lever, it doesn't have to. Yeah.
The horses can go around.
Yeah, the horse can go around. Yeah. So, yeah, blame it on me. It's just- Brian, keep going.
All right. Main Street, we started work on the feasibility report. At this point, we're kind of waiting for the soil borings and the televising, which soil borings, I think, will be either late this week or early next, and the televising, I believe, is going to be tomorrow. So we'll know a little more of what's in the
Because there's
ground.
lots of paint marks on the pavement, and again, they're asking me, are they coming this way too this year, so.
Next year.
Yeah, there's lots of paint marks, so.
Yeah, so just trying to gather information for the plan for next year.
Okay.
The stormwater infiltration project, it started advertising today. We're just putting the finishing touches on the plans and specs. They should go out tomorrow. And then they have, that'll bid on May 10th. And then the tree boxes that we talked about last meeting were incorporated into that plan as well.
Do you have a target date when you want that project to be underway?
It's probably gonna be beginning of June, by
Okay.
the time we get approvals, get contracts. And I think I'm gonna give them till late summer, early fall to finish up. The less restrictive we are on how fast they have to get it done, the better the prices should be.
Okay.
That should be minimal disruption in the neighborhoods. So I don't even see them having to close off a street fully. I think they could just put up cones and people can go around.
And a day for each one of those?
It'll
Or
be
it's gonna
more-
take longer?
It'll take longer to dig in the actual infiltration, and the pipe might take a day, but by the time they restore it, and it could be a day or two each.
Each of them, okay. So it'd be kind of an inconvenience in some places in front of the house. Again, that's what they're coming to ask me, so.
Yeah, and I think most of these, I think we'll try and work that, they can still get in the driveways. I don't think I had them crossing any driveways for that reason, so that we didn't disrupt people that way. And it's cheaper to not have to cross something solid. If we just stay in the grass.
And somebody asked me is if they have irrigation and you're in that grass, or is that not going to happen, or?
The irrigation we'll have to look at. Typically, if the stance is that if the irrigation is in the right of way, it's something that's in the right of way. We're allowing people to keep it there, but if we need to use that right of way, then we would usually expect people to take their irrigation back or dig it up, or even if they could help us mark it and find it would be something. I think we'll have a letter out to the homeowners, and I think we can work with them on it.
Okay. As long as we let them know what's going on.
So yeah, we'll have a letter out sometime soon. We're also gonna be, in the letter we send them, we'll be asking if any of them are interested in that tree box idea of putting in a boulevard tree, because the logical place is to put them in the areas we're disturbing already. And so hopefully we get some positive responses from people that they'd like a tree.
Then the other question that was asked me is those from 2 years ago or 3 years, are they still going to stay also? Those catch things?
Rain gardens?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are staying. We aren't touching any of
That's
those.
it. So that's not going to be eliminated. These things are not going to eliminate those.
No, these are doing kind of the same thing, but they're all underground.
Okay.
Except for the trees are the only, the tree and the little depression will be above ground on some of them.
Okay. More?
That's it, unless you have questions for me.
Any questions for him?
Is the roundabout on track?
That will be, it should be being, that only goes when school is out. So that, the roundabout area, all of that they can only start constructing when school lets out for summer.
The question that I have about that round utilities, that makes it tougher for the guys with the infrastructure, with the pipe, with the water and sewer pipes, or, they cross two and up in there, or doesn't that affect with the city when they gotta put in the infrastructure?
No, in a downtown or in an urban reconstruct like this, they work around utilities all the time.
They do.
Yeah, they're very used to dealing with that. I've seen them work in some really tight spots
Yeah.
around them.
You
and
would think they would let them do the first and then,
I think we'd rather have them in first, the small utilities in first. They make a mess. Otherwise, if we put in the new street and then they're gonna go dig in the new street, and to try and coordinate with them exactly when to get in there is gonna be tough. So, and a lot of those too, we'll maybe have to cross them when we put the pipe in, but those new gas crossings are putting low enough so that when the county comes and does a subcut, they shouldn't be an issue. So they're thinking ahead somewhat on it.
okay,
You're always gonna end up dealing with some of those.
yeah. Yeah, there'll be some issues. All right, we don't have anything more for Mr. Ryan, and let's thank him for coming tonight. And
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks, Brian.
all right, City Administrator's Report, well financing update.
I
Chris?
just have a couple things. I haven't given you an update in a while. I wanted to let you know where things are at with the financing of the wells. we're still looking at several funding sources. The big and first one is the governor's bonding bill. Legislative session ends May 18th, so hopefully a month from now we'll know if we're getting any money from that. If they would just fund it, that would be the end of this conversation, but.
Yeah.
But we have backup plans. And the second one is, and you know, you guys have had a couple approvals in front of you to approve applying for that 0% loan for $1 million through Stearns Electric through rural development. So we've gotten everything in for that. We're just waiting to hear on it. And that's going to be one of those things where our application's just going to sit there. Hopefully it gets approved, and then nothing will happen until.
If we need it.
Yes, till we officially ask for it, yep. Third of all, we've been working with Deed on a grant. It looks like it's about a $500,000 grant. So we're still in the process of going through that application. That would be nice too, that's just a grant, so,
And every little bit will help.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fourth one is we're working, we're on the intended use plan with Public Facilities Authority, which is a low-interest loan. And it would be my hope that they would fund everything that the other ones don't. We currently have a loan with them for our wastewater treatment plant, which was a lot of money, and they've funded that one. I hope that's a positive sign for us. So, and lastly, if we still need money, then we would have to issue bonds. But we're hoping we won't come to that. So, but that is our fifth option. So, just wanted to run through those with you guys. If you have any questions, or I know you've heard many of these before, and you know we're still working on them, moving forward.
And we don't really know until there's actually water coming out of it too, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll make a big difference too.
Yeah. Yep.
As soon as water comes out of there. Okay?
Right. Second of all, I'm sorry.
Yep, we're going to, that takes care of that. Approve a farmland lease. Is that what we're going to talk about next?
Yep.
Okay?
This is up in the business park, and this is on Outlot A, which is that outlot west and south of the distribution center. It is on the lot that the brewery has expressed interest in, but we've been leasing that out ever since 2005 when we developed that area up there. It's only 14 and a half acres. It's very small. And the people who have been leasing it opted out this year. And we had interest from Ron, folks who said he would be interested in leasing it for the same price those other people were paying for it. So,
He wants to be a farmer.
yeah. So looking for your approval.
So,
on
and then
that.
to approve the 2016 lease of the farmland of approximately 14.5 acres of farmland on the proposed business park property to Ron Fuchs for the price of $41 per acre. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay? And I'll make the other one.
Can I
I'm
ask a
looking-
question?
Yeah.
Is this part of the property where for Firefest they put campers on or not?
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is. So I think they
It's within the business park, whatever is cuttable, like for hay and stuff.
plant
Yeah, it was
alfalfa on
I was
it,
gonna say,
maybe?
isn't that they have it limited then to the type of crop because of,
Yeah, it's always going to be
Using that-
hay crop.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was one of the things, was it's always supposed to stay hay crop or grass crop or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, looking for a motion?
I made that motion.
Oh, that's right, and I did.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? All right. Mr. Ron is going to be a farmer.
That's all I have.
Okay. List of bills and additions. To review and accept the payments of the accounts payable according to the list and supplemental lists presented by the city staff. So it looks like we got to pay some bills. Looking for a motion
I'll make that
or
motion.
questions? Jan?
I'll second it.
And all in favor? Aye. Against? Looks like we're going to pay our bills. Workshop session, discuss CSAH County Road 2 financing. Or what
Maybe
do
you want to
to
do number 12 first.
Oh, general questions and comments from the city council. All right, Jamie.
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay, Chris, how about you?
I'm good. And then, is it all right with you if we recess for a couple minutes and resituate into a workshop session and push the tables together?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to recess and for a workshop session. So,
For 5 minutes?
for 5 minutes, yep.